manifestation is real, and there is a way to test manifesting. And not only is there a way to test manifesting, but on the other side, and very rapidly, if you follow this method, you will come out as an expert, as a professional. I promise you, I would stake my life upon it. You will master manifesting in a fraction of the time that it would take any other individual who doesn't use an exercise like this. Hi, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about the method that I use to test and prove manifesting. And I've used this method without fail for year after year after year. Over 6 years of experiential, systematic list method exercise testing. Now, you may have heard this term before, but I want to be crystal clear. This list method is not one that you would have read about in any book. It's not one that you would have heard about anywhere, not unless you heard it from myself, someone who follows me, or Athena Raven, who did a rendition of it recently, which was excellent. But what I want to provide to you now, because of my recent project that's been going on, which is the exhaustive extraction of my list method exercise and my data-driven manifestation testing, which you can't really see. Let's see if I can get you this stack right here of books. Is I've been working on a project which allows me to, with deep learning, with OCR, to extract the text. It can organize, extract the information, assign variables, and feed it into a deep learning system that I've programmed using extensive, new, amazing libraries that have come out over the last 2 years. I'm a software engineer and entrepreneur, by the way, if you can't tell. That helps me to construct the perfect system that will find common denominators with manifesting. Let me fix this right now. So why that's important is because the same and similar methods that are used by this deep learning system, which now I can started to test, and I'm going to show you some screenshots and information here so you can look at it with me, and I can show you just an example of how this stuff works. But it uses similar techniques within the deep learning infrastructure as I have used roughly in order to come up with the list method exercise allows us to place the same thought processes upon to find the common denominators, right? So in other words, let me make that quite simple. The list method exercise is a testing routine, a testing exercise, a testing structure and system that is to be used daily. And the reason this is critical is because, right, I'm an individual, over the past many years, I have been exhaustively researching manifestation, right? Coming from a position where I was in deep trouble, I was on death's door, literally. I was resuscitated through my own means and troubles from society. I was just written off, and there was nothing that can get me out of the position that I was in. And the only thing that I had was a little bit of drive to hope that there might be a different way out of this mess. And I'm telling you, if you don't know this, manifestation is absolutely real. And when I first started testing manifesting, I was very scared. I thought, although I didn't have a choice and I was going to go through with it, I thought that I would disprove manifesting. I thought that it was wishful thinking, maybe. I was hoping it wasn't, and I was petrified that the only thing I could latch onto, right? And you might be in a similar situation. You might be in a situation where there's something that you want that all odds are against. There's no way to get this thing with your will, your effort, your power, your finances, the laws of this society that we live in this world we live in. It's all stacked against you. And I can tell you, and I promise you, and I stake my life upon it with just fervor. And if you trust me at all, manifestation is real, and there is a way to test manifesting. And not only is there a way to test manifesting, but on the other side, and very rapidly, if you follow this method, you will come out as an expert, as a professional. I promise you, I would stake my life upon it. I mean this genuinely. If you can't tell, you will master manifesting in a fraction of the time that it would take any other individual who doesn't use an exercise like this. There's a reason why when you look in my comments, people are always talking about the list method. They're not talking about some technique that they've read in a book. They're talking about this self-same method. Just in the past week, the emails that I've gotten, I've received hundreds of success stories with the list method. Look into the comments, right? And some of the people here are hilarious. The things that they manifest are amazing. I mean, they blow my mind. Like a rainbow colored car, that was hilarious. These sorts of things blow my mind. They're amazing, but it's the proof that people are actually putting it to the test and coming out the other side so that they don't just have to base what they learn upon what someone says. Now, I'll tell you right now, I don't trust what anyone says. I wouldn't trust what I say. I'm telling you the God's honest truth. I don't trust what anyone says, and I'll tell you why. I was led astray. I was sucked into a cult, right? I was lied to. A lot of mainstream religion is all lies. And not only that, when I started getting into the law of attraction, I had some successes. There's a lot of great information out there, but there's a lot of lies. There's a lot of people who are trying to get rich off of this. They think that manifesting is merely a universal science that they can manipulate to their will to make their millions. And there's a couple that I can think of on the top of my head. And I'm not talking about YouTubers. I'm talking about some of the mainstream who are doing this. But nevertheless, the stuff that we find, now let me put it like this. When I was testing, which I started 13 years ago, but the list method itself is very particular and started about 6 years ago. There was no YouTube that I was on. There was no manifesting channels and nothing like that. So I didn't have any opinion. And even to this day, I've never watched a single YouTuber who talks about manifesting. I learned all of my stuff based upon books. That's everything that I've done, right? And I've read hundreds of books, and anything that I've ever learned that hasn't come from my personal experience has come from books. But I'm going to tell you right now, once you read 50 books, you have read all of the books. And what that really tells you, and I'm not being exaggerating either, what I'm telling you is there are some core books, and you can look this up, this isn't just me making this up, is there are some core books who are built upon research. And then every other book just uses the other book as reference to create an amalgamation with slight variations to prove their point. So what I'm going to tell you has nothing to do with that. Yes, I respect authors. Yes, I read. I mean, if you've ever seen my office and my other videos, I mean, I've read hundreds and hundreds of books, but really I've read thousands of books. So, the books in my office, I've read all of those, but then an e-reader, I have an e-reader right here, man. I'm telling you, I have read thousands of books, many of them on the mind, spirituality, ancient religions, mostly self-help, mostly nonfiction. And I will tell you, there are many little tidbits that you pick up here or there, but I promise you that what you get from this exercise is something that is priceless. You will find, and it is amazing, that the stuff that you pick up in this exercise will validate the truth that is referenced in some of these ancient texts. I'll say that again. The thing that blew my mind, one of the things that blew my mind the most out of anything, was when I started coming up with these common denominators. Meaning, in other words, right, so I have a method that I've always used to test, right? I find many different examples of manifestations, and then I line them up by the dozens, and I start to find the things that are similar in each of them. And what I mean is not just the result, not just the imaginal act, but the bridge of incidents, the length of time, the amount of people that were involved, the thoughts that appeared in my mind, the thoughts that appeared in another person's mind. All of those different angles are priceless. But what you find is, and this is when I realized I had stumbled upon gold, was because what I was coming up just from looking at results of what I've tested, I started to come up with these statements that said, oh, well, it looks like when you do this, well, this happens. Or when you make your scenes too complex, then it extends the time frame. Or consciousness appears to replicate what goes in the consciousness. You're not magnetically or vibrationally attracting something. What's fascinating is these statements are also written in scripture. They're also written in the Old Testament. They're also written in a lot of the yogi books. It's also written in the Vedas. It's also written in Buddhist stuff. So these things that you will find when you begin to put this to the test is far different than you will have read anywhere. It's far different, unless you're talking about the ancient books. It's far different than anything you will have seen on any YouTube channel. It is just far different. So if you're looking for a quick fix, if you're looking to make $1 million by Friday, then you can leave now, because this is not the channel for you. This is not the channel for quick fixes. This is not the channel for hacks. This is not the channel for the technique that's going to take you over the edge. This is complete transformation. This is something I'm not just giving you an angle, creating a variation of a different YouTube channel. I don't watch them. I don't know what they are making. This is solely based upon personal experience from me, from my clients, and now based upon the application that I'm creating and that have created based upon this amazing deep learning artificial intelligence that's been able to find and predict the truth about reality based upon experience. And that is what we're talking about here. So as I've said that, I will go into this now. And I'm going to tell you, in my Discord, if you ever become a part of the personal community, if you ever come a part of the workshops that I hold on Thursdays or Athena's, then you will find that this methodology, the list method, is used essentially by everybody. And the reason is because it's amazing, it's exciting, it's fun. If you want to watch manifestations rain down, if you want to see your confidence and trust rise systematically because of the experiences that are happening and occurring based upon the single stroke of a pen, this is for you. So this is the updated version of the list method exercise. Follow along, listen closely. As I said before, the vernacular that I use, I said this in a prior video, the vernacular that I use is very specific to me. What I have been receiving from my clients, what I've been receiving in emails and comments, is there are conflicts of vocabulary from varieties of different teachers. So in other words, one example is I studied Neville Goddard extensively, right? I've read his 300 lectures and books. I have listened to all of his audios and I've studied them the same way as I study with the list method, right? I have binders stacked with all different underlined circles, cross-referencing, right? I'm a biblical scholar. I know ancient Koine Greek. I know the ancient Hebrew, right? This is what I do, right? But what I find is that the individuals who are, I guess it's who's teaching this, they're not using the same, like a word like feeling by Neville, they're taking to mean emotion, but that's not what Neville meant. So these descriptive words that are automatically being assumed to be true through our modern vernacular are not what is really meant to be used for a lot of these people who really were the originators of these sorts of teachings. The same thing as faith. People believe it as, oh, that means I believe something is going to happen. That's not what faith means in scripture. That's not what, therefore, faith means in manifesting. So pay close attention to my vernacular. It's not going to be like anything you've heard before. This is going to be quite specific to the point. So let's jump in to the list method. Now, the list method itself is the whole theory behind it is to build enough evidence to master manifesting. The problem that I found in my own experience was that there were just not enough manifestations coming to pass. And the information that I was receiving, the information that I was reading, the information that I was hearing was talking merely about things that were not getting me results like I needed them. In other words, if you want to know a lot, if you want to make a lot of conclusions, you need a lot of data. It's one of the reasons that this deep learning software that I've been creating, by the way, check out my video on that, and I'll link that here. It's the first video that I made in this series of deep learning. It's called Deep Learning Solved Manifesting, and you'll see what I'm talking about with regards to the deep learning. But this computer and my servers have scanned and extracted millions of data points, and those millions of data points are scanned from transcripts. They're from transcripts of my coaching clients, thousands of them, each of those containing multiple success stories and failure stories. I have thousands of failures myself. I have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of successes. I also have the submitted success stories of my viewers, of my clients. I've scraped one of the features of my application is it scrapes the internet, it scrapes forums, it scrapes ancient texts, it scrapes modern day texts, modern day success stories from different ideologies, different philosophies, different religions, different bulletin board systems. And it finds all the different nuances, all the common denominators, the similarities, and it predicts exactly why something worked and why something doesn't. And not only that, it generates precisely how manifestation works and breaks it down into principles. So what we are doing here is precisely a similar thing, except you do not need to be a supercomputer to do this. I did this for years before ever constructing an application as such. You may have seen that I haven't been on for the last 2 years, really a lot, right here and there, but it's because I've been obsessively working on this software. If anyone knows me, and if you know me, then you know that I'm obsessed with testing. You know I'm obsessed with math. You know I'm obsessed with physics. You know I'm an entrepreneur. You know that I'm a computer scientist. And you know that I can't stop figuring out how to demystify and teach manifestation to everyone. And this is where it all began. So the list method finds common denominators by allowing you to manifest a multitude of things in a rapid amount of time, a variety of different avenues and facets of manifestation and reality. And the way we do that is through a method called the list method. If you want to call it the list method exercise, you can do that. I'm thinking of a different name for it, right? Like the manifestation feed. I think that's going to be probably what it will be. Tell me what you think about that, right? I want to know. So let's call it that, right? The manifestation feed. The key here is writing. Now I'll tell you something, right? There was a time, and this is where I started doing this writing. There was a time when I was trying to figure out, this was towards the beginning of my YouTube career. Or before it, I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me, right? Why did my life keep creating the same romantic errors in my life, the same romantic relationships that failed? And the reason I realized was because I didn't feel important, right? This was a conclusion. There was a long train of thought that went through that. Obviously, I had a conversation with someone, such and so forth, and that feeling of unimportance would manifest over and over again. So what I did was I just wrote down on a piece of paper offhand. There was no intention to create nothing. And I just wrote down, I am important. I feel important. And I wrote that down because that was the reminder that I was going to do something about it, right? I was going to fix it. I was going to manifest it, etc. The next day, right after I wrote that down, I go to the same coffee shop that I had already gone to for years. And the moment I got there, the lady said to me, "You look really important." And at first I was like, oh, that felt really nice, actually. I felt it impact me. And then came the revelation. I was like, holy crap, did that just manifest? Did I just write that down one time and it manifest? Oh my God, what does that mean? Does that mean you don't have to visualize? Does that mean I don't have to feel? Does that mean I don't have to use emotion? Does that mean I don't have to repeat? Does that mean I don't have to? Then the list method was born. What I did was I realized I had to then from that moment see if that would work. So the first thing I did was I started just testing if I could write something down once and if that would manifest. And sure enough, it would. I started with a cup of coffee. I started with someone complimenting me. And slowly but surely, and these things were manifesting rapidly, these would unfold and I would left shocked. I would left floored and realized, dude, is manifesting not what they've been telling me? This is not what they've been telling me. So, when I tell you I have read and studied hundreds of manifestation books, spiritual books on the matter, I am not exaggerating in any way, shape, or form. They're all underlined, circled, bent, folded, multiple copies, etc., etc. But no one really talks about the intricacies. They all say the same thing. They're all just saying visualize, they're saying use affirmations, they're saying script this. But this is what blew my mind because I started then realizing that there was a lot that was not taught anywhere, right? There's just not a lot that was taught anywhere. If you realize it and think about it, the new age thought is not more than 150 years old, say, and that's max. I mean, there's no way it's even that old. But considering most of it comes straight from Christianity, and then not just Christianity though, but the Old Testament, it comes from the Kabbalah, comes from Hindu, it comes from Buddhism, but mostly for what the Westerns talk about in law of attraction, it's coming directly from the Bible. And what's interesting about that is I knew that what I knew about the Bible was not what mainstream churches knew about the Bible, right? I was sucked into a cult earlier. I learned the esoteric and metaphysical interpretations of scripture inside and out. I learned the ancient Hebrew, the Koine Greek. I learned gematria. I learned so much, right? Kabbalah. And therefore, I started to realize I need to get this out there, because it was shocking to me. I'd read the breadth of information out there, and obviously, just as well as I do, on YouTube, everyone's just repeating the video of the person who's popular at the time, right? That's what everyone did to me with Neville. So once I started writing down a variety of different facets of this, I realized this could be really powerful, really big. Not only, I didn't even realize what I was getting myself into at that time. But every day I decided I would write down at least 10 things about manifesting, 10 things about reality from the perspective of it already being true. And when I did that, it changed everything. The way you would do this is consider all the different facets of reality. You think of, you have to ask yourself this, because this is the whole point of this. What do I think isn't possible? What am I wondering is possible? What have I been told is false? What have I been told isn't true? What have I been told? And what have I been told? What have I been told? What have I been told? What have I been afraid to do? What have I not wanted to do? That was my mindset. And so I'll tell you how I started with this. I wrote down, like I said, every day was a different set of things. And I'll tell you what I learned over time, and I'll give you the culmination. I'll give you the climax of it, and I'll give you what works and what I use regularly to this very day, and what I provide to my clients, to my friends, to my subscribers, to anyone who will freaking listen to me, man, because this is the key that blows this wide open. This is what unlocks your power. This is what gets you above and beyond what any mainstream person is. This is what gets you to a place where you have your own confidence, your own power, your own trust, your own knowing. There's nothing that can stop you. You yourself have infinite power, and this is what proves it. I received a free cup of coffee. That is how it starts. That is how mine always started. That's how I continue to do it to this day. And to this day, I am still getting free coffees. I received a free cup of coffee. An old friend messages me. Somebody dreamed of me. It rained for 5 minutes. The president said this thing. Someone called me good looking. Someone, like I said in my last video, there's so many different varieties of different things. You have to think people, think places, think things, think weather, think feelings, right? I feel this way. I felt this way. I think this way. I always this way. This always happens to me, right? Someone walks in front of me who has mismatching shoes. A weather balloon flies overhead. A UFO flies overhead. I'm trying to think of some of the most bizarre things. One of the most trippy things that I manifested and still to this day engage in, and if you've ever dreamt of me, you're going to know why. Someone dreamt of me, or someone dreams of me, or people dream of me, or people dream a specific thing about me. People dream premonitions about me. This is something that I have that blew my mind wide open. So here's the key with this whole thing, right? What you will do is, what happens is, so you have 10 things written down. You write them only down once. You write them down stream of consciousness, right? This is exactly how you do it. You say, there's a bullet point, or I use in fact, I'm going to provide you my exact journal. I'm going to provide to you my list of different symbols that I use for different varieties of manifestations and experiences, right? I journal and research everything. So I'll give that to you, and you will have that. You will find that in the description. That's what I'm going to provide to you here, along with anything else that I say in this video. So I list down a little journal icon. That's what I always list down for a statement that will become true, right? That's in my mind. I know what this is when I write it down and when I reflect on it. So I write that down. I write down, I received a free cup of coffee. Or it can be in the tense of, I receive free coffee. Or I always receive free coffee, right? So it either has to be past tense, or it has to be as if it's a continuous thing, right? I always receive this, right? Or so I received, I receive, or I always receive. All of it, the condition is that it's already happened and it continues to happen. Okay, that's important. Now, here's the thing. I implore you to actually try different things, right? Try the wrong thing, because then you will know. This is the whole point of the list method. You want to butcher things. You want to mess things up. You want to get it wrong. But I'll tell you a key about the list method is don't write down in this exercise. You can write down whatever you want and something else, but in this exercise, keep pure to things that are not as important. And the only reason I say that is because you're testing, you're experimenting. You don't want to experiment and screw with your greatest desires. I'm not saying don't write down and manifest your desires. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm saying this practice alone is built for your confidence, your trust, your security, your experience. Nothing beats experience. Verifiable manifesting, as I call it, systematic manifesting, data-driven manifesting, is manifesting that is built on verifiable experience. And your verifiable experience far outweighs what anyone says. It should far outweigh what I say, but you need to do it the right way. And that's what I'm here to explain to you how to do, right? In university, so first of all, I am a math buff, I am a physics buff, and I am a computer science buff, right? In university, I studied all three of those majors. It's what I love. Even to this day, I will still sit here. Well, as you know, I'm a coder, right? But I'm developing differential equations, right? I do stuff like this for fun. This is what I do. I solve discrete math problems for fun, probability for fun, Maxwell's equations for fun, right? Apply them to different concepts and see what happens, right? The reason I bring that up is to tell you, just to give you a little of information who you're speaking with, so you can trust me a little bit more than some bozo who you just ran into who's saying some random stuff, right? So what you want to do after that day, after you write that down, you put it away and you don't look at it again, at least for now. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. And you perform the same thing. You perform the same thing for the next 7 days, meaning tomorrow, or you wake up again, or whatever time you do it during the day, you want to write down 10 things, 10 unique things. They're not the things that you wrote down yesterday, although it's not like you're comparing. You're not thinking, oh no, I can't write what I wrote yesterday. You're just trying to come up with a random 10 things. Is it possible that you accidentally collide with one of the things that happened yesterday? Absolutely. Or a week ago? 100%. Nothing wrong with that. The point is, though, is stream of consciousness. When you're writing it down, you're not imagining it. You're not adding feeling to it. You're just paying attention to it. You're writing it. I have received a text message from an old friend. You are handwriting it. This is critical. You're not typing it. There's a function of the mind that works best. In ancient yogic traditions, there's something called japa, right? And there's a few different steps or methods to doing it. One of them is handwriting. It's like an affirmation type thing. And if you do this, it will saturate the entire self. And I didn't know this until way after, but this is really what it's leaning on, right? So you very accurately and very slowly and carefully, you write down this thing as if it's true. Stream of consciousness, right? So in other words, you're not getting deep into some state. You're just writing it down slowly and carefully and meticulously. That's it. You're not rereading it. You're not reading it again. You're not reading it the next day. You're not reading it ever again. And there's reasons for this that you will find as you continue on in the process. So day 2, again, 10 random things, whatever. Day 3, 10 random things. Day 4, 10 random things. You can do more. Don't do less. If you need help, there's anything. Look at anything and just come up with a random thing, man. You know what I mean? It blows my mind how people can't come up with 10 things. You literally anything. A coffee pot falls. Like I'm looking around the room right now. A window is blue. Whatever. I see something like this. Something happens like this. Something flies like this. Something vanishes. Something disappears. I have a mystical dream. A psychic experience happens to me. I can come up with a gazillion of them on the dot, on the moment. You hit day 7, right? You hit day 7. So you write down, I received this, blah, 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 blah. Next one, I received this. Next one, this happened to me. Next one, this person said this. Next one, this person felt this way. Next one, yada, yada, yada. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Day 8 arises. Now, look back at day 1. And I say that because you want to allow time to pass between the time you wrote it down and the time you try to think of it again or look for it. So in other words, you will then reflect back, and then you hit day 9, you can check day 2 and day 1 if you want to check day 1 again, right? There's no limits after you've checked it. And what you will find is you keep going through this process, right? You want to do it at least 14 days. My suggestion is now that you're following me in this channel, we're going to be doing this together. And I'm going to be mentioning it every time because the testing is where you gain the power. This is not something that is just manifesting should not be taken lightly. This is a life-changing power that if you use it properly, you probably don't even realize the power that you have at your fingertips right now. And you will find it after doing it. But here's the whole key to the whole thing. You keep doing this process, right? You will start to see after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, manifestations are going to start raining down like by the dozen. You will see so many every single day. And not only that, you're checking them off. And when they happen, if you remember, when you go back, you log down how it happened, who was involved, what did you think, what did you not think? When you wrote it down, were you obsessed? Were you not obsessed? Were you able to forget about it? Were you thinking about it all the time? You need all of this information written down. You need all of it written down, not just thought about, written down. Trust me, if you want to master, if you want to get whatever you want, if you want to make your life masterful, if you want to start your own YouTube channel, if you want to teach other people manifesting, this is how you will do it with supreme authority. There is no one who can step to me and say, what you're teaching is wrong, because I've tested it 1,000 times, and not only myself, with others as well. This is not my opinion, right? This is something that has been put to the test infinitely, independent of my opinion, right? This is what you want to be. This is where you want to be. And you will find so many crazy things. You will find the ones you forget manifest the fastest. You will find speed does not play like the fast, they don't manifest in order. You will find if you think about it too much, it won't come. You will find if you write it in the wrong way, it won't come. You will find if you weren't focused at the time, it won't come properly. You will find, you will find different avenues or different topics or different beliefs are slower in you, right? You will find all different facets about reality. You will find you are influencing people while they sleep. You're connected to their subconscious. You are influencing them step by step. You will see exactly how bridge of incidences work. You will see that manifestation does not fit within the confines of time, as I talked about in my previous video, but it fits within the confines of experiences, bridge of incidences. You will see that you can easily change beliefs with the stroke of a pen. You can manifest huge things with the stroke of a pen. You don't need to imagine over and over. You don't have to believe anything. You don't have to feel anything. Each facet of your imagination has the power to create. You can influence your ability to manifest. And on and on and on and on and on. Listen, this is not some theory that I have. This is all just through experience. And I'm not the only one who's done this now. I've been teaching this method for years. Look in the comments. Please, if you're in the comments, even if you never comment, just comment and say, I've been doing it for X amount of time. It works. Do it. Do that, or help someone and say, yes, it works, it's been working, I've done this, etc. Tell them how it's changed your life. As a group, as a community now, we need to be doing this. We need to get this truth out here in a solidified way, especially if you want to be able to help people, especially if you want to be able to teach people, especially if you want to be able to manifest with a confidence that is unshakable and steel. This is what my teachings are based on. This is a practice that Athena engages in her own way and has successfully tested manifesting herself and manifested so much epic success based upon just this systematic testing, right? Testing gets you the results. And I will tell you right now, right? I coach many people. I was talking about this recently, right? In my applications, one of the things, so in order to coach with me or in order to do sessions with me, you have to fill out an application, right? And I read these applications and I approve only a small amount. But one of the factors that I look for is if you have actually experimented, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with the fact that if you haven't done it, right? But to work with me, you need to be able to trust what I'm saying absolutely, because you need to be able to do it. And if you have experience that proves that you've tested it, then we will be on the same page. So one of the factors I just look for generally is, have you put enough effort into this to test? Because testing is going to be more powerful and get you your results in a permanent manner better than any other method, any technique you're going to hear, any get-rich-quick thing, which don't work, by the way. These hacks and tricks and all this, none of this is going to work long-term, man. None of it does, you know. Some of it manifests real quick and fade away, as you'll find. But the key is the successful ones that I see, the consistent, successful manifestors that you will find are ones who are engaging in a testing practice. Now, keep this in mind, right? Experience trumps theory. Experience trumps theory. Experience trumps belief systems. Experience trumps anything. Your experience should, like, for example, once you start testing on a consistent basis, there's a lot that you will know is false of what you're reading. How free will you be? How free will you be? How confident will you be if you know without any doubt whatsoever because you've tested it 1,000,000 times? Imagine doing something literally 1,000 times. You know how it works. You've tested it. You've examined it. Imagine a full-time job of manifesting, right? Imagine having that level of knowing and trust and experience in your practice. That's what I'm pushing here, right? I don't want you to take my word for anything, right? What I'm telling you, yes, it is true. I've tested it, whatever. I've tested it 1,000,000 times, as you know. What I'm trying to get across to you is that testing is the key to the future. This is how things take form. This is how revolutions are built, right? We need to see this vision of a community of people who have tested manifesting to a degree where there's nothing that can get in their way. They have mastered and can do anything they want with manifesting. And I know I've been really harping on this, but I'm telling you, my entire life and successes are driven upon this. I have been the coach of New York Times bestsellers. I have been the coach of primetime Hollywood TV celebrities. I've been the coach of Olympic athletes. There's a reason they come to me, and it's because everything that I teach is based upon implementable, systematic, testable, repeatable methods. And how did I get those methods? Through this technique that I've just given you here. Now, I'm telling you, I implore you, please perform this method today. Start today. It's so quick. Use a pen, use a piece of paper, get a notebook, use whatever you want, and just start it now. I will include information in the description and in the comments so that you can download, you can sign up to the list, right? I'll be referencing this and trying to keep everyone together in this. All I ask is that you keep us posted on your success. Really, all I ask is that you do it. But what I secondarily ask is tell people your results. Tell people that you've done it. If you have questions or if someone has questions, help them with this. We need to do this as a community. I appreciate you. But on that note, thank you so much for being here. This will work super effectively for you. It's worked for me for a great many years, and I will continue to do this for a great many future number of years, if that's even a correct sentence, right? Stay tuned for the videos. I will be talking more about data-driven manifesting, verifiable manifesting through testing. I will take you through more of my video information as I'm showing you right now, obviously. And you can see that a lot has gone into this, and testing, it's not as advanced as you might think. It doesn't take a math genius to do so. I've laid down things for you in a way that is just simple. This is the way that I started it and the way that many people have mastered their journey with. So keep up the good work, keep doing this, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.